Good evening, good afternoon from wherever you're tuning in. Welcome back, y'all, to Tea and Tarot. It's your sis Moon Magic, where we get together and moods and melodies meet over tarot and beats. I'm a hip-hop artist, MC, and educator based in Sacramento, and we've been getting here every week now consistently. I feel like maybe since like October, sometime last year, here at the Tea and Tarot space, getting together, pulling cards, vibing with our intuition, and checking in with one another and building community. So welcome back to Tea and Tarot, to all of those who are coming back into the space. We're going to go ahead and pull some cards. We're going to shuffle. And we're just going to do some check-ins. The check-ins are always a time for me to just kind of give some updates, see what's going on in your world. If you're watching this on the playback or on the live, let me know what's going on, what's up in your world right now. And it's also a great time to grab some refreshments, whatever you got. I got some water and coffee, be my combos. And just get comfortable. Get your journal, a blanket, crisscross applesauce, or, if you're watching this in the car, make sure you're staying focused, all the things. I see that Jonathan Newell is up in the chat. What's up? Good to see you here. Thank you for being here. All right, updates for your girl over here. I don't see anyone shared any updates yet, but let me know in the chat if you have any updates you want to share. It's getting warmer where I'm at, which tends to be like I get so much congestion during the season, or just like, I don't know, I feel like my body kind of goes into like shock low-key once it gets like warmer like this. So I've been kind of like just taking things slow this past week, making sure to stay really hydrated, and really for like the last couple weeks, because every single time this weather starts to get warmer, I start to just kind of like, whoo. So that's something that I've been like trying to be mindful of this week. What else is going on in my world? I have been mentioning, because it's also getting warmer, that I'm not too sure if we are going to have the Tea and Tarot space much in past spring, but we'll see. Last spring, summertime is around the time that I stopped doing live Tea and Tarots every week. And I always say it's because, it's like, it's the spring, it's the summer. We tend to be out and about more. My school schedule changes, so my work schedule changes, all those types of things. But as of right now, I've been really rocking with this Thursday night, and making it happen. So, y'all let me know down below if you want me to continue to keep Tea and Tarot in the spring and summer, or if you also kind of enjoy this quarterly, seasonally, on and off. What else did I want to share? I also would love to hear some feedback on how everyone's feeling about our special guests. I really enjoyed having the guests in this space. I thought it was a cool way to kind of like bring more of these concepts and things that are said in tarot readings, or kind of in these spaces, to life with, space for these like kind of nuanced conversations. And we've had 3 guests now on the Tea and Tarot space, which if you haven't seen those episodes, check them out on the YouTube channel or on the main hub of my Instagram under the Reels section. Let me know what y'all's thoughts are on that. I'm definitely thinking of continuing to bring guests on this spot, just kind of how it goes by. Jonathan Newell said how to stop in and show some love. Thank you so much for stopping in. And Joey Baldwin said, good afternoon, Moon Magic. Good afternoon, Joey. Good to see you in this space again. We're just doing some check-ins, some updates, and seeing what the vibes are. So what is everyone's vibe been this week? How are we feeling? How are you feeling? How are you doing? I just found out maybe yesterday or the day before that Mercury retrograde just started today and was going to be starting, which I wish I would have known that last week, because that would have explained so many things. Like last week, the Tea and Tarot episode didn't even save, which was hilarious. But ever since that day, I feel like the last couple days has just been a whole lot of Mercury retrograde shenanigans happening in my world. So I'm curious if you all are feeling it too. Just things getting delayed, or miscommunications or technology being wonky, all the things. So definitely take good care of yourself during this season. And I always feel like this time period is just a really good time to like really double check like systems and structures we have in place, right? Like sometimes when technology goes wonky, it's like something that is a bigger issue. Other times it's it also just tests our patience and our ability to like respond. And also other times it kind of just like shows us like how funny life can be, you know, in its own way. Those are some of the things I've taken away from retrograde seasons, but you know, I'm really curious to hear how it's been treating everybody so far. But yeah, I don't see any updates here on the live. And I think that's pretty much it for updates for myself. Trying to think. Definitely check out the new music video. It just dropped with featuring E.G. the Beast. Shout out to him for my song All You Need that came off my album Moving Different that dropped in September of last year. That's my latest project that's out. So we just did some visuals and music video that dropped on Sunday, February 22nd, filmed by TSE Forever. So definitely check it out. It's on the YouTube channel. And thanks to everyone who has been showing love on the video, commenting, and all that stuff. Really means a lot to me, you know, because I put so much into the music, you know, that's really, you know, a big part of what I do. You know, the tarot and all of this is a big part of me too. But I feel like those two things will always be like such important parts of me, which is where the hip hop witch name comes from. For myself and why, you know, I started to really resonate with that. So yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to those who did take the time to check out the video. And if you haven't already, you could check it out in my bio or on the YouTube channel. Anything else? Shout out to Indigo Queen. Her album's coming out real soon. That I've had the honor of getting to produce a couple tracks on that, and been working with a lot more artists in the production and engineering, you know, roles, and that's been super fun to get to be part of music in a different way. And I'm really looking forward to getting to share some of those things with you all. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. March 28th and March 29th are my next shows coming up here in Northern California. I have a show March 28th in Sacramento, Femme Frequency with SAC 916. And then I have a show on March 29th with Miss Marvelous and her daughter, Little Marvelous, as well as CMG. And that's going to be from Conscious Daughters over in Oakland, California. So both of those are also up on the website. So I'm going to put all that information here, as well as where to donate, because as always, it really goes a long way, helping me to just be able to do what I do. So yeah, I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. I hope everyone's enjoying their Thursday. And if you're up here in Northern California, enjoying the warmer weather, because it's real nice outside. And we're going to go ahead and jump in right after I put these Cash App and Venmo apps on here. Also, y'all, I redesigned my website recently, and that was super fun. So if you haven't gone over there in a while, definitely go check it out. I was really feeling nostalgic about the MySpace days. Did anyone here have a MySpace? I was way too young during the MySpace era to be on MySpace, but I had a MySpace. Should not have been on there, but definitely had one. And one of the things I really loved about that era was like the sparkly type of animated, you know, the little coding URL type of stuff that are HTMLs that you got to do on your websites. So I definitely kind of was feeling the nostalgia and inspiration from that when I made the website. So definitely check it out if you haven't been over there in a minute, because I just did that this weekend, I believe, as well. Shout out to I Am Casper up in the house. Alrighty, we're gonna go ahead and ground on in and get into this reading here. So I am just going to have us all get in a comfortable position, whatever that is. Today I'm feeling crisscross applesauce. Sometimes it's putting my feet down on the ground. It could be laying, whatever it is. And we're just going to take some time to get into our bodies. You can close your eyes, whatever really feels comfortable. I'm really big about just listening to your body when we ground in. And today I feel like taking a little more time to do that. All right, we're just going to take a couple deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Just really focusing on our breath. And go ahead and keep doing that at your own pace that feels comfortable. In through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Thanking your guides, my guides, and the divine for this space today. Another deep breath in through the nose. And out through the mouth. Asking that these messages come with clarity and discernment to know how they apply to each aspect of our lives. Another deep breath in through the nose. Out through the mouth. Really asking that this time be a sacred container for this work and to be free from distractions and outside noise so we can tap in with ourselves and one another in this space. And so it is. Alrighty, when you're feeling comfortable, you can open your eyes. This is also always a really great time to, if there is something that's on your heart, something that's just been on your mind lately, to take the time to think about what that is. If you're watching this on the playback, it's a great time to pause the video and kind of journal about anything you may want specific guidance for. And if you're just here vibing, then, just being open and keeping that intention to have those messages that are meant for you to come through. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started, and let's go ahead and see what comes out. I'm going to take a sip of the coffee. That is so good, y'all. This is only my second cup of coffee today, so I'm proud of myself. All right. Let's go ahead and see what energy comes out. Ooh, okay. 6 of Swords. And let me know what you guys see in this card. I really want to do another one, though, because I feel like that one was kind of coming out. I'll leave that right here. And then one more, a supporting card. Let's see what comes through. 5 of Swords. Ooh. Yeah. 5 of Swords and the 6 of Swords. It's immediately already giving very Mercury retrograde vibes. But let me know what you all see. What's sticking out to you? One thing that's sticking out to me automatically is that their backs are turned, like they're not facing one another, which I think is really interesting and kind of was giving me that vibe of like miscommunication or misalignment or like, not seeing eye to eye with someone. Ollie Hertz, how do you say your name? You said swords on a boat, maybe self-sabotage because the swords can make holes in it. Danger, maybe. Ooh, I love that. Yes, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. I'm always very interested by those swords in the boat, and sometimes they stick out to me, sometimes they don't, but I feel that with the Mercury retrograde and already getting that kind of miscommunication, the idea of self-sabotage for sure. We could be our own worst enemies, and the swords energy is so mental, it's so heavy in the mind, that like the way that which our own thoughts can trip us up is really coming through in this too when you said that for me. Molly, pronounced like mall in Spanish. Oh, Mali. Oh, that's beautiful. Does it have a special meaning? Mali. I'm gonna write that down. But yeah, we have 5 of Swords and the 6 of Swords. I also think it's really interesting because the 5 of Swords and the 6 of Swords are kind of progressions of one another. But the 6 of Swords came out first. So it also kind of gives me the vibe of like, when you feel like you're going forwards, but you're going forwards, but you also kind of feel like you're going backwards. And I always say that about the album I have called Retrograde, because that's where that album was kind of inspired by, was the retrograde feeling of like going forward but going backwards. Like you're making progress, there's improvement, but then you have these moments where it feels like you're going backwards. And I always feel like retrograde seasons have like those kind of like phantoms almost. Like it's stuff where it's like a lot of times when a retrograde season happens, I've noticed for myself at least, is like I've seen how it'll be some sort of like lesson or something that I feel like, oh, okay, I really feel like I'm understanding this, or like what it is that I'm supposed to be, getting from it, right? And then it'll be like I'll be feeling like, okay, yes, all right, I don't have the same issue in this thing like I used to. I see improvement in whatever it is that I feel like I've been maybe learning about myself or working on in a specific skill, whether that's the way I relate to others, the way I'm just navigating certain things, all the things, right? And I'll see it and feel like, oh, I've overcome this thing, I've gotten better at this thing. And then it's like that 5 of Swords where I feel like somehow I get this like phantom of like, oh wait, are you really growing past this, And it kind of returns in that way of like, and I always feel like it's kind of like testing us to really stand by our word and stand by whatever it is that has happened, to where it's like it's always a choice which direction we go, if that makes sense. And at least that's how it's always felt for me, and resonated with retrogrades. And also it's kind of like that transformation time period, because change isn't, overnight. A lot of times, a lot of change isn't, right? Some things can happen in a, split second, but there's a lot of things that can take years to really change, especially when we're talking about like deeper inner work and, parts of ourselves, or, things like that, which I feel like tarot points to a lot of that kind of inner mechanics, especially when we're talking about the swords, which is very mental, very much like thought processes, mental health, things like that. So yeah, I really love that you brought that up for these 2 cards as well. The one other thing that I'm thinking about with these cards, because someone had brought this up last time, was about the calmness in the background. And I've really loved that idea, because recently it's been making me think of the 6 of Swords as this like reminder that, there's these calmer waters on the horizon. But yes, this energy definitely feels very like there's tension or, mind tricks at play, whether that's with yourself or someone else, or just things not being clear, and just like getting off on the wrong foot. Or it's just like one of those days where you have like, man, your words aren't making sense and it's very retrograde-ish, like I just can't get it together, whatever it is, or just the vibes feel off, it's giving that kind of energy for sure. And the first thing I saw when I first saw this was thinking like, seeing it as being like really mindful of what we choose to think or believe around what we perceive, I am Casper says, sailing on a boat to the sea and having a lot of blades on the boat, right? This is the second person who brought up the blades, yes. The blades on the boat is definitely giving a lot of retrograde vibes. Blades meaning surfboards in a surfer slang. Oh, you're talking about these blades being... Oh, I know nothing about surf slang. My bad. I missed that. Shoo. Surfboards. That's hilarious. Well, see, learned something new. Okay. Yeah. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and pull for advice and see what comes out. But like I said, with this energy overall, I just feel like it is a time period to really be mindful of, what we're choosing to believe, what thoughts we're ruminating on, the conversations we're having with ourselves and others, like how much merit we put on certain things, and just like really getting clear about how you feel before getting too tripped up on logistics of things, if that makes sense, because this could definitely be a time period where communication gets lost, where certain things just logically are not making sense, and it'll be like something like, oh, I put my keys on this hanger and it wasn't there, and then you spent like the whole day looking for your keys, and then you go back there at night and then somehow your keys are on the hanger and you're like, what the heck, I swear it wasn't here. It's just those kind of little blimps almost is the kind of analogy or energy that's coming through with these cards for me right now. But let's go ahead and pull advice and see what comes through. Oh, 5 of Rods. Oh, Page of Swords. She. 8 of Swords. Okay. And, oh my gosh, the card won't pick up. Okay, come on. 7 of Rods and 10 of Cups. I don't know why I kept pulling. You know what it is this card itself is a lot of energy. And I really wanted to confirm what this card meant before really continuing. So we're going to start with the 5 of Rods here. If y'all want to take a look at the 5 of Rods and let me know what you see. We had the 8 of Swords and the Page of Swords reverse right here too. That popped up. And this card I always notice is like, it's conflict. It's, butting heads. It's, very much confirming that same kind of energy of the 5 of Swords, because this is also a 5, but it's the 5 of Rods. So it's more fiery. It's more like, this is like where you could have a passionate conversation with someone, a passionate argument, or, just like where maybe certain things are just making you a little more heated, like someone might mention something and it triggers you a little bit more. You're like, getting a little more worked up than usual. This is definitely that kind of energy, and the way we kind of come together or don't come together with others in a way where that energy can clash, or it can also drive us to organize with one another and combine that kind of passion too. That's another side of the 5 of Rods that's really coming through with this energy too. But let me know if y'all see anything else with these wands right here. The Page of Swords and the 8 of Swords coming out is really interesting. I feel like these two cards are really encouraging us to not get too trapped in our mind, to not ruminate too much, to not get too defensive. Something that was coming through in general earlier was, and this I feel like relates to this now, about how constructive feedback is not inherently negative. And a lot of times constructive feedback is actually a really good thing. It helps us to grow. And in a moment when we're receiving constructive feedback, or, in a place where change is occurring, it can feel really uncomfortable and can make us feel like we're being, told negative things, whether that be about ourselves or the situation or whatever it may be, but a lot of times if we're not given constructive feedback, which, sometimes doesn't come so constructively, right? Sometimes it can just feel like criticism, or, again, it goes back to perception, and perception being really important, how we're perceiving things and how we, are we trusting our intuition? Are we believing things for face value? All of those things are kind of coming up in the nuance of that. But it's definitely making me think of that, and like, really, just taking that into account during this time, whatever this represents for you, wherever in your life this is, right? This could be something like, being in a healthy relationship with someone and you still have, certain arguments that challenge you to grow, right? And, you know, it's not that because you have arguments with your partner that you're, you know, that you guys don't care about each other or you don't love each other. It might just be an opportunity where you both have to reflect on the way, you know, you're doing certain things. And, you know, for human beings, we're always going to have, you know, certain flaws and things that we need to work through and work with. And, you know, relationships can be those kind of mirrors that show us those parts of ourselves. And it's giving that kind of energy of like being open to, the divine work within that, if that makes sense. And like knowing the difference between that, you know, the maliceness versus like, collaborative, constructive feedback and growth that's necessary for everyone. I hope that makes sense. That's what's coming through with these for me. And then I saw the 7 rods and 10 of cups, which I think is really interesting too on here, because it definitely, I feel like kind of reinforces this idea that sometimes friction is good. You know, sometimes friction is good. Sometimes a certain level of friction is what we need to really grow to be in a place where we will be more the person that we want to be, or the career we want to be in, or the family we want to have, or the, you know, fill in the blank, right? Sometimes that friction and perception of something not working out or being hard or having us question ourselves or someone else, or, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, is all part of that bigger picture to finding deeper fulfillment and joy and, you know, healthier and more aligned relationships with ourselves and with others and within community. And that's definitely the vibe that these cards are giving me. Alrighty, another coffee break. I don't know what it is about this container either, but it makes like whistle noises every time I drink it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and pull a Mirrored Truth card from the Letterman deck to see what comes out. Shout out to those on the live who've been participating and sharing what they see in the cards. I always love getting to hear other people's thoughts about what they see in the cards. And like I say, I feel like it always adds so much to the discussion. And again, this is a community collective reading. So, you know, this is really, you know, our collective intuition is so powerful. And I don't believe in a hierarchy in tarot. I always say that too, because, you know, I think it's just like working with something over time. You understand it more, but really we get so much through being able to share what we all are understanding and seeing from the cards, and you know, making that channel known. For me, that it's a collective channel is very important, rather than some sort of hierarchical like thing that you cannot access on your own. And if anything, I think community strengthens it. So shout out to everybody who has been participating. All right, what is the Rider? Where is this card? Sorry, I don't work at this deck that often, although I've been pulling on it. Probably been working with it the last like month a lot more frequently, month or two. You've seen me bringing it up on the Tea and Tarot space, but I for some reason cannot figure out how these cards are numbered. I swear this card is number 1, is it not? Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. You know, ADHD brain. All right. Rider. This card is about good news ahead. A previously stalled situation is set into motion again. Life as a whole is gaining new momentum for new beginnings to transpire. Commitment is required from the current. That would be you or myself, or whoever feels this energy might apply to them. It does not happen by itself. As a person card, the Rider shows you someone familiar. For example, this might be a brother, a young man, a lover, etc. However, the Rider does not often appear as a person. In regards to a relationship, this can mean that someone new is entering into your life. There is a possibility of new encounters. At the same time, there might be a lack of engagement in that area as well. So it could be both. Effort is required instead of just reacting. Ooh. I love that bar. Effort is required instead of just reacting. Ooh. Okay. In the workspace, there are either too many projects at the same time or it's too fast-paced, and not everything that has been started can be finalized. This event displayed on this card should be responded to quickly so that no opportunities are wasted. There's a lot in these cards usually that it covers, so definitely if you're watching this on the playback, you can go back and re-listen to it and really see what sticks out to you, or even as you were listening here on the live, whatever parts really resonated to you, because this card can give a lot of double meanings. It's important to not let the double meanings trip you up too much, because it's really what is being called to your intuition in this moment. But something that stuck out to me about this card, and something that I've always kind of felt when I have seen this card before, is like the feeling of it being something that's like for the not here for a short time but for a long time, and things that really need you to follow through with, and to continue on with, and to push through and to persevere. And especially with this retrograde season, it definitely gives me the feeling of like not letting things kind of slip through your fingers, or double checking your emails and things like that, being kind of diligent in that way. Molly says, yes, I see a horse, but no one is on top, and I think I see a snake eye. Oh. Yeah, I can kind of see like this like grindiness too. I'm really like, it gives paths snake vibes, curviness, the twists and turns. And I think that's really interesting because we just left the year of the snake and now we're going into the year of the horse, or in the year of horse now. I'm Casper says horse card, and it's the year of the horse. Oh yeah. yes. Whoop, whoop. Okay, let's go ahead and pull some tarot, what's it called? Oracle cards, and see what comes through. Oh. The universe. I love that. This has definitely been another message coming through, is that, with all this being said, right, double check and go through your communications and be mindful and be diligent. But I definitely feel like it's important to not have that crossover into, again, ruminating or, paranoia or those types of energy. There's a fine balance, between being diligent and seeing something through and, being on top of something, and then, kind of doing, more harm than good because you're not allowing it. It's kind of giving the energy of if you are growing a plant and that there's certain times you have to check in on the plant and make sure that its growth is growing, and make sure it has all the things it needs, its nutrients, soil, you got to check in periodically for those things. It's making sure to do those things, but not going in the dirt and digging it up because you're trying to check if it's growing. It's still trusting to a certain degree that you're doing all the things that you can do, but making sure to follow through with those things, because this card for me has always been a card about trusting the universe's hand in things. And even today I was just re-seeing that kind of saying of you can't miss what's for you in the universe, is a saying that I've seen a lot of times and heard a lot of times, and this is definitely giving that energy, and something I saw today. Because I've always, for that sometime, I don't want to say I have struggled with that concept, but it's a concept I've always kind of been back and forth about. I know everything that has happened to this point, I do feel like there's a purpose and a meaning for myself, but there are times that things happen that I can't really explain, or times where I feel like maybe I'm missing out on something, that I'm supposed to be understanding. But there was definitely something about that coming through too. Even the times where I feel like we're not understanding of something, we're not getting whatever it is. We're not, that last week's reading was about some of us understanding the lesson, some of us understanding the assignment, and then some of us struggling with the assignment or lesson, and some of us all in between. Some days we feel like we're getting it, some days we feel like, I don't know what I'm getting into. And it's kind of giving that same energy here of that reminder of even if we're not quote unquote understanding whatever it is, trusting in that moment, that we're not meant to understand, or that we're on our way to understand for a reason, because it's all part of our path and journey. And that's kind of the energy that's coming through with this card too. But I'm going to go ahead and read the description. I always like to read the descriptions because I always just say I'm not going to block no one's messages, and the descriptions always give more to the card. So this card asks you to fully trust that there is a plan for you and that you have the support of the unseen. There are forces at play much larger than you could imagine. Surrender to that which you cannot control and trust in the idea that Spirit is always orchestrating what is most needed. This card may come at a time when a cycle or a trial is coming to close. Phrase any what-if questions in a positive way. What if everything is going to be okay? What if this is exactly as it should be? Sometimes we become paralyzed in the practical world because we are waiting for the Spirit to show us the way. However, the universe co-creates with us. We must be empowered as humans in this dense reality to show up for what we want and trust that Spirit will do the same. If you are someone who is always asking for signs, try to take a break from that and trust yourself as well. It very much goes back to this message here of like really trusting yourself and not like doing too much of this like overthinking, over ruminating type of energy that I feel like can really be potent during this Mercury retrograde season. And what else was I gonna say about that? I think that's it. Oh, this also gave me the energy of like, if there is something you've been working on, perhaps maybe it's like you really want to have a family, or you're really been searching for like a solid partnership, or you are really working towards something like a career, business, financial goal, or just been working to just be steady and like, you know, stable, not even asking for anything too much, just like the basics, and still struggling in certain areas. I feel like this card is also asking us to believe that sometimes there are things that that don't happen. It's not because we're being punished necessarily, but because there are reasons unknown. You know, it's a bigger divine orchestration than we can comprehend in our finite bodies, that the infinite has an understanding of that we don't, you know. And I find that sometimes those things are like the hardest to grasp, because there are certain things in life that are almost unexplainable in that way, I feel. So this card kind of reminds me of that as well. Alrighty, I'm going to pull 2 more cards for us. Let's see what comes out of the Angels, God, and Goddesses deck. And these decks are linked below in the YouTube on my YouTube channel. So if you're interested in getting one of these decks, and along with a lot of other goodies like links to my music and stuff like that too. Ooh, not trying to get a million coming out. Hold on. Alrighty, we'll do 2. Is it 2? Angel of Expression. Y'all, I feel like this card has come up the last like 3 times back to back, which is very much, I kept saying it, like Aries and Neptune energy. It's this very much kind of like, now is the time to put yourself out there and to be yourself and to feel empowered in who that is, and to, you know, the kind of self-conscious like kind of energy that I think comes with that Pisces energy of Saturn and Neptune that we have left out of now that we're in the Aries energy. I feel like this has been a really heavy theme. And then we have God of the Arts. Hey, these are both very expressive, very artistic energies. So we're going to go ahead and read them and see what comes through. But it's definitely giving me the vibe of, because we are also in a Mercury retrograde, it makes me think of how maybe some of this kind of like wonky, weird Pisces energy we can use in our favor in a way by like working with it so that it doesn't work against us, by allowing things to kind of be fluid and wonky and not try to like put too much like naming it too much, and instead of just like kind of going with the flow, which is very Piscean. And we also are in Pisces like Pisces season in general, so it's kind of this like just create and flow and just be kind of in the moment of that kind of energy, which Pisces has a very kind of artistic type of energy to it. Where is this? Okay, Angel of Expression. It says, speak your truth and express yourself clearly. There is something you are not expressing because you fear hurting someone you love or care for. The Angel of Expression has shown up in your reading today to encourage you to speak your truth and express yourself clearly with love and clearly and with love, because when you express yourself with love, you never truly hurt anyone. Lack of self-expression is soul-destroying for all concerned and prevents life's natural flow. The angel of expression understands your fears regarding this issue and is here to help you through this difficult time. Allow her to help you find courage to face the issue clearly. By expressing yourself honestly and clearly, this situation will heal in accordance with the highest good of all concerned. Yet do not try to predetermine or control the outcome. Trust, for the power that made you both will heal you both. Ooh, I love that. It's definitely giving me that energy of what I was saying about constructive like feedback not being negative. Like, you know, this is that energy of like, man, if someone hurts you and someone did something that, you know, like, hey, this made me feel some type of way, to not just swallow that energy and not say anything. This is an energy of like, the people you love, we should be able to have those kind of tough conversations and be able to be direct about, hey, this happened and it hurt me, and like, you know, of course with love, again, like we're not like over there like, you did this thing, you know, and being able to like, you know, hold that space for one another. It's definitely giving that kind of energy. And again, like that's constructive for us to be like, wow, okay, I could have done this better, you could have done this better. We're able to express ourselves and express how we were hurt, and sometimes that comes out of anger or sadness or, you know, so on and so forth. And I feel like this card is really encouraging, that if you have something to express yourself and to not run away from that. And this also could be very encouraging to put yourself out there in a different way, right? So if there's something you've been holding back saying, or you've been feeling really encouraged to just like say or do the thing, this is very much in alignment with that energy. All right, God of the Arts. The artist within you is about to emerge. The true artist within is about to emerge. You will soon feel a strong urge to express yourself creatively. This creative expression will lead you to new and exciting ventures, projects, and ideas. Expressing yourself creatively will also help you to balance and heal your emotions, which in turn will help balance and heal you physically. This is a time to be authentic in your true self. Allow yourself to express all you feel without reservation, censorship, or judgment. Honor the inner child within you and just be you. You could express yourself artistically in endless ways: painting, sculpture, dancing, singing, playing a musical instrument, gardening, knitting, carpentry, woodwork, pottery, and writing are just a few of the many ways in which you can express yourself imaginatively and creatively. Yes, I love that. This is definitely a great way to navigate this time period where things can feel a little flowy and all over the place. Just dive right in and soak up the creative energies. So I'm definitely feeling that vibe for this season. And again, it makes me think about just like, you know, we live in an age where social media is so like curated, it's so perfect, it's so, you know, this, that, and the third. You know, one of the things I love about this live space is actually being able to be not in this kind of curated echo chamber, so to speak, you know, because there's, you know, real conversations we get to have in real time here together. And it's definitely also giving me, you know, if there is like a part of you that you feel like you can't share, or you know, you love, but it seems like it needs to be this perfect curated form, because of those kind of external pressures, to, you know, go beyond that and to, you know, if your heart is in the right place and you truly, your intention's in the right place, to lean into that creation and expression in that way, especially with both of these cards combined, you know. And Molly says, I've been wanting to DJ. Ooh, that's, yes, this is definitely a very aligned energy to start maybe a craft that you haven't worked on much, or you know, want to get to know more or take more serious. And a good way to dive right into this Pisces energy, since things are going to be a little bit silly, we might as well make the most of it, right? All right, I'm going to pull one more card from this deck. Ooh. Movement awakens my creative spirit. Wait, I feel like this is low-key a card just for you to confirm that. Because when you're DJing, you're going to be moving and having fun and vibing. I love that. Anyways, this is number 27, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and read this card and see what comes out. All right. It says, movement awakens our creative potential and our primal essence. It's a deep-rooted aspect of our womanly nature, and it acts as a superfood for our emotional, mental, and physical well-being. And I did forget to mention, but these cards are directly created by a collective of women. So all the cards are like femme-centered, but it definitely applies to all of us, you know. I personally believe we have masculine and feminine energies within us and can benefit from, you know, being able to experience both energies. And so just take that and, you know, apply it as you see, okay? Your body dances with the song of your soul when you move and flow. Breathe deep, sweat your intentions, and empty out so you can let more in. Recognize stagnation. Your body wants to move, and avoiding this signal can lead to depression or buildup of stress. Movement flushes out tension, drawing clarity and confidence to the surface. You'll feel more self-reliant and generate more connected core energy. Replenish your magic and clear your head. Your body is your home and movement is your medicine. Ooh. I feel like those last two sentences was like the overall advice of this entire reading. Replenish your magic, you know, tapping into your creativity, and clear your head, you know, not ruminating, taking things as constructive feedback as it applies, but not ruminating on it, not being too stuck in the mind like we talked about. And then your body being your home and movement being medicine is very going with the flow, you know, very Piscean. So I love that. Those are all the messages that are coming through for this week. Thank you all so much for being here. I want to thank your guides, my guides, and the divine for this space today. Looking forward to tuning in with you all next week, every Thursday, 5 to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here on Instagram Live, or you can watch the playback on YouTube. If the Instagram Live saves, which hopefully it will this time. But thank you so much for vibing with me, y'all. For more information, go to www.moonmagicflows.com. That's also where you can check out the Patreon if you're interested in joining our community there, where I also pull cards monthly, and you can get individual readings from myself. But until next time, I will see you all then, and take good care of yourselves. Peace.